What's going on, growers? It's James Prigioni coming to you live from Jersey. As you know, on this channel, we're not just about growing plants. We want to create a system that supports us, but also supports itself. This doesn't just happen on accident though. There's things we need to do and to put in place to create this harmony. Let's go! If you've seen some of my videos, maybe the one on wood chips or on how to build healthy soil, you know that starting a system like this has to do with getting a good foundation in, a nice layer of wood chips. But that's not the only thing that's going to take care of your system. You need to focus on things like what kind of plants you're going to put them and where. On whether or not some plants can fill roles for you. Make it so you don't have to do it. For example, we'll use companion planting to take care of a lot of things for us. Let me bring you to a section here where we've got one plant that helps supporting another. Right here we've got a comfrey plant. And this is a good actually companion plant for all your fruit trees. Comfrey is a dynamic accumulator is what we call it. And the reason it is because it has very deep tap roots. With those deep tap roots, it's able to go down there, pick up and mine minerals that some other plants just can't mine. So it's a great plant to plant next to your fruit tree and just mulch underneath it. As you can see, this one actually got shaded out a good amount, so it's not huge. But I'll bring it close underneath the soil here and show you what it looks like when you have a thick mulch down and you're working to build it. See this fungus here? Look at all that. That's a nice fungus. There's another thing that to go with companion planting. Often people will plant marigolds by their tomatoes and stuff because that helps get rid of nematodes. But to be honest with you, fungus also fight nematodes too. So a good fungus soil will help you combat that. Look at this soil though. Beautiful. Still nice and moist. Great smell, and actually smells like a forest. Let me bring it to some other sections where we're using plants, not just to support others, but to benefit one another in many ways. When you're putting a system together like this, it's not just about finding as many random different kinds of plants and stick them next to one another, because there are plants that will not benefit one another growing next to each other. Some plants have allelopathic properties, which means their roots give off exudates that can harm other trees and resist them from growing. You can see Tuck under here, messing with the asparagus, having a fun time, and looking for carrots too. We've got asparagus here growing underneath a peach tree. So we know that asparagus have light, nice deep roots, so we thought it might be a good idea to put it next to a peach tree. They seem to be excelling nicely. And I'm going to give you guys a book I'll share with you, which is a great place to start if you're new to companion planting. And this will just be able to open up your mind and give you some different kind of ideas. Because when it comes to companion planting, if you've got something like, say, maybe a pest issue you're having problems with, there are plants that can help resist that. For instance, there's coriander over here, which is known for helping to repel things like aphids. So if you're having an aphid issue, maybe interplant some coriander into your section. The coriander will not only help to repel the aphids, but bring in great pollinators, and it's a delicious snack. Coriander, which is actually just cilantro, has 3 times as much calcium as something like a parsley, and a number of other more minerals. So it's actually super potent and super powerful. So if you like parsley, maybe try some coriander in there. It's actually a great herb, and I eat it fresh all the time. Previously, I mentioned the word polyculture, and some of you may not know what that is, but one of the best ways to define it is it's the opposite of monoculture. Monoculture is just growing one culture, one set of plants or things in one area. Polyculture is the opposite, multiple plants, all in the same location, which is super important because plants actually will take up some minerals from the soil, and sometimes bad minerals, and they'll hold it inside of them, and then they'll actually release some of that through their roots. They'll excrete it out into the plant, which is okay if you have a number of different kinds of plants, because some of these excretions can actually be antibacterial and antifungal, which will help support the plant and others around it. But if you have all of the same plant in one location excreting all the same excretions or whatever it is, then that could actually become toxic, and which is really what we don't want to do. So monoculture creates so many problems that we could avoid just by growing everything in a system together like nature does it. I told you all that I would share a book with you that'll help you with companion planting, one that was pivotal to help me get started, and that's actually Carrots Love Tomatoes. This book right here costed me pennies. It'll cost you pennies too, but it's worth thousands, even more. The value of the information here is huge. It doesn't just tell you how to companion plant, it also gives you some other cool ideas within it. But that's what we want to do. Read these books, gain this information, and learn. Because like Bill Mollison says, yield is based on information. The more we read, the more we learn, the higher our harvest can simply be, even in the same size location. I heard someone give a scenario and I want to present it to you guys. He said that basically we should all be reading about 2 books a week. Say we are reading 2 books a week. Say I'm reading 2 books a week, and you're not. So you're not reading those 2 books a week. Let's see, 1 year, 2 books a week, that's about 100 books in 1 year. 10 years, that's 1,000 books. So if you're not reading in 10 years, you're gonna be 1,000 books behind. Think about that one, guys. Get reading and get educating. Right now, I'm in the new food forest we just put in a few months ago. And if you guys followed along, you know I put a lot of my fruit trees in. The foundational trees that are gonna really produce for us in the future. But you'll notice there's large gaps between it. For instance, between this tree and this tree, we've got, say, 10 or 12 feet, which is a decent amount of space. But what are we gonna do between here? Just grow annuals? No, we're gonna put a lot of support species in. And you may be questioning why we didn't do it when we first planted. Well, to be honest with you, a lot of these fruit trees, we put the money out, got the right varieties the first time, bare root. So they're relatively expensive. To put all these in, it costs a little bit. So I wanna encourage you guys, you don't have to do it all in one day. It accumulates. So you get a couple trees in this year, you add your support species next year. As long as you have these wood chips in, they'll help support your trees, give them enough water and everything. As you can see, Tuck, he just can't get enough of the fresh fruits and vegetables. He came and grabbed one of our Asian eggplants. And I love this eggplant with actually dicing it up and cooking it with my eggs, one of my favorite. I wake up early morning, walk out to the coop, grab some eggs, grab a nice eggplant, dice it up and cook it up. Nothing better. Eating fresh, local, organic from your garden and sharing it with your pup. That's living. I'm not sure if he's actually eating it or if he just likes to rip it up. But right here, it looks like he's eating it. I think a lot of it is just monkey see, monkey do. Whatever he sees me do, he tries to follow suit. He's my buddy. We call him Shadow because he's always behind me. Looks like you got another one. Grab the pepper. That's cool though. We've got so many peppers this year. This year, to be honest with you, the tomatoes haven't done amazing, but it's been kind of like I said earlier the year, it's the year of the berry, it's the year of the pepper. Absolutely. We got monsters ones. Looking so good, so healthy. I talked about maybe trying a hot pepper on camera. Let me know if you guys want to see that. Some said yes, some said no. It could be brutal because I never looked up how many the capsaicin level and how hot it's actually going to be. As I'm sure a lot of you know, there's millions of different examples of companion planting, and I'm sure there's many that we haven't even realized. So a lot of these are beneficial, but there's also ones that are not beneficial. So we need to educate ourselves to make sure we're going into it ones that are likely that will work, not just blindly planting things together. So that's why I shared that book with you. I think that'll be tremendous value because I know it was for me. Someone also mentioned to me in the comments, they said, James, I put my garden in this first year and it really hasn't done that well. And they were kind of upset about it. And I want to try to encourage you guys not to be upset about that, because the first year you put a garden in, the second year you put a garden in, every year you put a garden in, it's not necessarily about how much you harvest. It's really about the gardener you become when you're putting that garden in. So say the first year you don't get that much, but that year you've got all that knowledge, all the experience of why it didn't work. So going into the second year, you can use all that and invest it in the next one. So after your 7th, 8th year of gardening, you could take 7, 8 years of knowledge, experience, and the faith that you've garnered and invest that in that 8th year. So that's where really value comes in. So it's all accumulating and all building up. Just have a little patience and I know it'll work out for you. That's today's video, growers. Thanks for watching. I saw an interview once and it was Bill Mollison, and someone asked him, hey Bill, does permaculture work? Does designing a system like a food forest actually work? And his response was, do trees grow? And that's profound to me, because that's all we're doing is working with nature. We're not doing anything magical or anything crazy, so obviously it's gonna work. If you put a tree in the ground, it's gonna grow. That's what it wants to do. And we have got a lot of stuff to harvest actually, guys, so let me know if you wanna see a harvest video coming up. And another thing was, a number of you have mentioned in the comments that you wanna be a part of Team Grow and you wanna be able to show your support. So we've got something planned in the works. We're always looking towards the future. If you liked the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share it with your friends, and don't forget to check us on Steam. We're always posted on there. Tuck and James Prigioni will be back at you real soon.